So Chloe and Max, they are getting seated right now.
Yeah, we've seen Max already on the stream. We know what he's capable of. Well, we know he's capable of phonies against Joey Malik, but we also know that he's capable of extremely high-level play, and Chloe is just the same. Chloe is another one of those players that had sort of a meteoric rise out of nowhere, had been sort of muddling along in the low intermediate ranks for a while, and then just decided she was tired of that. She wants to be good at this game, and now she is.
Let's go watch Chloe be good. We are ready to switch, and we'll get that underway. Chloe has AADEOST, and I think out of this rack, you either play Oda, you play Adu, or you exchange AO, right, Charles?
Yeah, I think Oda just looks really a spectacular leave on a turn where you don't have a high-scoring play. You might as well just go all out for leave, and Chloe has it set up. I think we will see this shortly. It just depends on where she wants to put it on the board.
Would you exchange 2 here?
I don't think so, just because ADEST, while it's an extremely good leave, it's not like a guaranteed bingo like something like AERST would be. I would definitely be tempted to exchange into AERST, but probably not this one.
The last time Max was on stream, he needed an O as a floater to bingo. And that was a 1 tile that would have saved him, and he hit frontals immediately. So every floater is a little bit dangerous. These are neck and neck on a sim. So it's just an interesting thing. I thought Oda and Adu were like obviously better, and Sim kind of disagrees. You can do either one. But in any case, Oda, I think a very standard play, a fine play from Chloe. And Max now to respond, he will not be bingoing on the first turn of this one. Instead, he'll have to try to figure out, he's drawn a Q and a U. If you're going to draw the Q, you always want to draw the U with it. Do you play them both right now, or do you play Obey for 24 and look to cash in this Q next turn? OBEY is 24, or the standard QUAY is 36, but holds BEEO. What do you like between those, Charles?
I like cashing in the Q at this point. If with a play like Obey, there's no guarantee, actually maybe even like a lower than average chance that the QU combination pays dividends in the short term. You might be looking at like a 20-point Q play in your immediate future just to move on from the Q. So taking the points now does seem to be worth it. It doesn't give too much back. It doesn't give useful bingo floaters, which is something that you'd be worried about after Chloe does something like Oda.
It's an interesting turn. I would have thought for a long time and then just flipped a coin between them, I think, because I can't really discern which one's better. It all comes down to what you draw. You know, if you pick up another E into BEEO, you're in trouble, like Max is. But if you don't get a good Q play next turn, then you just sacrifice 10 points for no reason. Scrabble's fickle like that. And now Chloe, after Oda, into her AEST, picks up an I, a U, and an additional S, and that is not what she was looking for. I think SAU and Quays is going to be the play here. Maybe US instead, but I hate how many vowels that holds, especially on a board with no opportunities for floaters right now. You're going to need to hit a 7, and AEIST doesn't do that as much as I'd like.
Yeah, definitely with 2 S's available to Chloe, no problem playing one of them off now to score a few points with the Quays spot. And my guess is that she's just thinking about various plays that she could play there with Quays. She might also be thinking about underlaps, making QI. I guess something like 2E, TUI, or 2Es she has set up. But she's not playing it underneath. She's playing it making Quays.
Yeah, that does set up the over here.
E for etuis. That'll be an important hook.
I think I keep things smaller with SAU there, but both plays are fine. And Max has to be happy he can play off some of his 3 E's now. That front hook is going to allow him to play BEE in that spot or OBE in that spot. Both of those give some opportunities back, but I think you've got to make those plays anyway. I think I play BEE with the last E, front hooking 2E. What do you think?
Yeah, that seems to be really his only options. Kind of unless he has something starting with UN, like unbeat, misspelled. He can look there briefly, but otherwise the Etui's spot seems to be the place where he's looking, and he's going for OB, keeping EENT.
This is always a fun one for me. EE or EO. To me, those are nearly identical leaves, like ENOT or EENT. And Quackle actually has them literally identical to one another. So in that case, it's all about the defensive considerations. And after Chloe plays Oda and then Tui's, she's in bingo range. I am not playing OB. I am not letting her play an ED or ES bingo on top. I'm playing B and making it hard to bingo. But Max decides to play OB. Maybe this is a style he likes to play. Maybe he wants an open board here. And OB is what he does, and he's going to get bingoed on for sure this turn as Chloe's found a blank, AEISTV blank, and she'll have some time to figure out which of her bingos she wants to play. There are a ton of bingos. Nothing scores more than 70, so she just picks her favorite of them, I suppose. Waviest, maybe? Waviest and TO?
Yeah, it's something that gives back a less useful floater like the W would be, I guess, basically the only differentiating factor. Also, possibly the ease of making parallel plays on top of your bingo.
Yeah. Waviest does all of that well. It slots the V just below the double word score, so you're not going to get hit with overlaps. There are no two-letter words making a V, so nice and defensive. It makes TO on top of OB, which has no front hooks. So I think Waviest probably the best bingo. But she's going to take her time, see if there's anything cool, anything higher scoring, maybe utilizing OBES. I've just got an anagrammer open and I can see that there's nothing.
Yeah, that would be a slightly higher scoring spot, and she's definitely going to look there to see if there's something available. Going back to her play of Tui's, one of the reasons I maybe didn't like it as much is the strength of her leave was really predicated on keeping the T, because the T was working so well with the E and the S and the I. She did play it off and drew another T, so it ended up working out for her. But I think that might have been a slight misstep to sort of disrupt the leave for not a whole lot of gain.
This is a big decision for Chloe for a lot of reasons. Max has just one possible 8, and it requires an R. So should Chloe get lazy and just play a satire bingo, play Veritas or something, she will get bingo back on. If she plays Vainist, she won't. But giving an N to your opponent as a floater, when you can give him a W with Waviest, I give him the W all day.
Yeah, because the other worry is after play like OB, OBE, that sort of seems like a fishing play. Otherwise, why wouldn't Max play more of his tiles? So Chloe has to be thinking about the letters that she's giving back for him to bingo through.
So she plays Naivist and then flips it to Vainist at the last possible second. Again, maybe a slight missed opportunity. Why give a N or when you can give something else? And this gives up overlaps like Waviest didn't. But she'll find a bingo. She'll score very well. Chloe surges ahead 103 to 50 and avoids giving Max the R he needs for here and 2. So a good sequence of events there for Chloe. Maybe frustrating to miss the bingo after Oda, to miss the bingo again. But she did end up getting it down and is ahead in this game. And that's a fun draw for her. The C, the M, the Z all together with some good vowels. She might be able to score some points depending on what gets opened up here. Max, E-E-H-I-N-O-T. This is a frustrating turn as well. You can cash that H on the triple letter score beneath Vainist, like O-H or E-H and E-H. All of those score 27. You can play on top of Vainist, H-O-N-E with 4 overlaps, scores 29. T-H-I-O, Thio scores 29 as well. Thine, T-H-I-N-E, is a 5 overlap on top of Vainist, which is exactly why I don't think you should play Vainist in that situation. Lots of options here for Max, or you can just blow things wide open and play Heine through the I in Vainist as well. What do you like here?
My first inclination would just be play off OH or EH just for the 27 and move on. The problem with that is it keeps what I would consider to be bingo letters, but not particularly high synergy bingo letters on a board where it's unlikely that any bingo you draw is even going to play. So there's no point in being that aggressive, keeping bingo letters. I was actually sort of thinking about something like Thean under Quiz, just to start developing that section of the board now that I'm down. That scores 29, keeps the pedestrian OE, but sort of gets that part of the board a little bit unclogged. Instead, he goes for Ho, which is, I guess, sort of a conventional play, keeps good letters, a pretty good score, and does sort of set up another lane for sevens.
EINT is a great lead for Max. AEE, a terrible draw for him to pull into it. And now he's got a mess to deal with as Chloe gets to figure out how to cash in these tiles. ZOA and AHA is her highest scoring option, but there is no way she can make that play. It just gives up a free 50-pointer to your opponent. I think we're actually going to see her hold the Z. No. Okay, she'll play Za here. I think in the same spot, Cam and MOI makes a little bit more sense. But Za's fine. Obstruct a little bit. Score 34. After HOE, though, I really want to take away the opportunities to front hook EN. I think Cam was a better play there. And she is not rewarded by the tile WG, her 2-tile pull after Za. Oof. Okay. Bad draws for both players here now.
Yeah. Neither player is going to be happy with what they've ended up with. Although Chloe's going to have some flexibility scoring, hopefully, whereas Max does not really have flexibility scoring. He's going to be limited. Let's see, what's his highest scoring play here? It's not going to be very much.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to play off TEE or ATE through the T and the 2Es or exchange 3. Like, this is awful. Maybe he just plays EAT. No, I don't even know what he does. This is just a terrible turn.
I would be tempted by T and TEIN under Quays just to score some pitiful amount of points, even with the 3-vowel leave. Because something like this, playing off 2 vowels, just doesn't score enough, doesn't set up enough, doesn't even keep a good enough leave. But I totally sympathize with that because that was a very tough turn.
Yeah, if he pulls 2 consonants here, he could easily bingo, but not going to bingo again. Okay, geez. Yeah, I agree. I would have played TEIN and just taken some points there. AEE is a terrible leave, but sometimes you just got to roll the dice and see what happens. That's what I would have done. But Chloe now, the WG draw into Cameo, ACEGMOW, and once again, just a turn with few decent options. Everybody's just drawing bad right now. But hey, if you're going to draw bad, you might as well have your opponent draw bad too to make it interesting.
Right, and Chloe can't feel too bad because she is in the lead. When you draw badly while in the lead, it feels bad, but it doesn't feel nearly as bad as drawing poorly when you're trying desperately to get back into the game.
Oh my God, what is Chloe going to do? A COZ plays for 28, but you're not playing COZ after your opponent has played OBE and then HOE and then ATE. Like, your opponent is very close to a bingo. Your opponent has a bunch of 1-pointers, maybe 1 vowel too many, and is fishing. You're not going to give him a C and a triple line. You can't play cause, and everything else is terrible. So what do you do?
If I'm Chloe, I'm thinking for sure that Max has an S because he just played ATE. The only letter that takes is an S. It's kind of a weird one, 8s. Most people wouldn't think that it takes an S, but it does. That would appear to me to be an S setup. And so I wouldn't do anything that would, make things easier for Max, assuming he has an S. Now we're sitting here and we know that Max doesn't have an S. And so the calculation changes a bit. but I'm sure Chloe is thinking he's at least got an S and bingo tiles. The bingo is imminent, and she has to figure out what to do with that information.
I wonder if a play like GAUM through the U in Quays makes sense now. I mean, if he's got the S and he drew a bingo, I'm giving him a spot to play the bingo for like 4 more points. But if he's got the bingo, he's got the bingo anyway. If there's one S spot I can't do anything about, let's just make a second one. You draw one, I'll draw one. It's all good, right? It scores some points. It doesn't open up anything new that's not already available. So maybe you do that.
Yeah, I like
Maybe
that
you
idea.
maybe you play MOC on the top of the board. Is that a word, mock? I think it is. I don't know anything
Yes,
anymore.
I think that's a moccasin.
Okay, I thought so. So, I mean, maybe MOC and MEN or MOW if you want. I don't know. The CGW combination is just so terrible and inflexible. Chloe's got nothing good this turn.
Yeah, I would actually be considering like WAG, WAG, making when. That's like very few points, but it gets rid of the W and the G. It does score something. And if you figure that Max has an S, you kind of just say, oh, well, he's going to bingo making 8s because I can't do anything about that spot.
Yeah, this is tough. WAG. She agrees with you. WAG is going to come down. Oh, man, what a sad turn for Chloe. I think that's about the best you can do out of a terrible situation. And then you just grimace and get ready to get bingoed on. I'd be super confused because it's been 12 seconds and Max hasn't bingoed yet. Sometimes you dodge bullets, and that's what Chloe's going to feel like here. Although we know that Max's rack was way weaker than it actually was.
Yeah, definitely. From Chloe's perspective, she has to feel like the bingo is imminent, and we know that Max was sort of keeping bingo tiles, but not great ones, not on this board, and has now drawn the J. So he's going for the new hook that was created, G and wage. Egypt under Quays was also an option. Again, that achieves what we were thinking about earlier, doing something about the bottom left of that board. And it looks like Chloe.
G, yeah, now you get to play cause.
Yeah, and Chloe was nodding her head after G. I think she thinks that Max was about to bingo, but then drew the J, which is kind of true, but also not really.
Yeah, so she's got him pegged on, well, he still has bingo prone stuff and an S. I'm going to get bingoed on this turn, right? And she's still just kind of waiting. She sets up the scoring spot in the top left, thinking I'll get bingoed on with the 8s spot, and then I'll score 30 up here and have a chance. But no, like Max did not have an S after 8s. And that is just so strange.
Yeah, now Max is really far away from bingo. Like playing off both of these basically sent him back into starting from scratch.
Yeah, Chloe doesn't know that though. Chloe thinks, okay, he probably picked up JE after 8 and played off those 2, and he's still pretty close. But no, that's not the case. And Max, with these not bingo prone tiles and no S, what is he going to do? Finn beneath Quays looks so standard, just FIN, holding the nice synergistic ADNT. There's one play that's better. It's sneaky and it's tricky, and most people wouldn't find it. I don't think I would. But there's one play that's probably a little bit better. Maybe not for board dynamics, but definitely for equity. And he won't find it, but the play was fade in through the disconnected AE at F2 for 28, holding A and T. But those are like next level plays. Those are what separate 1900s from 2050s, and those are hard to spot. Finn is fine, but Chloe's going to bingo and probably put this thing away. She's got to be so surprised that she still hasn't been hit with an 8s bingo, and now she gets to play an 8s bingo of her own.
Yeah, Edemas with an O in front, a little bit of a tough find. Ooh, she's actually missing it.
What did you do?
I was just gonna say it's a tough find, tough enough that I wouldn't be surprised if she missed it. Either that or she's not sure of eights, but I think a player of her level would know that eights is a word.
She's 100% on eights. I think she just whiffed the bingo, didn't even think about it. Sometimes you get so excited by something else, but OEDEMAS is a pretty high probability bingo, a word Chloe certainly has seen before. Uncharacteristic mistake from her. And we'll see if Max can capitalize on it. Max now has one play that is much better than the rest that he needs to see. That play is uncage. I think you need to play from the U in Etudes, UNCAGE. 38 points, DT leave. It's a great play.
Yeah, that spot's been open for a while now, and really the easiest way to hit it was UN plays, just on and then a 4-letter word. It just so happens that there hasn't been a good way for Max to do that until now. Now it's really critical that he sees that spot. I think that scores enough points where he actually is no longer doesn't need to be super worried about bingoing. Oh, but he's missing it.
He's found spot.
Yeah, he sees the spot for fade in playing cadet, but uncage, I think, clearly better, just opening stuff up for him, opening floaters for bingos. And not to mention scoring 14 more points.
But uncage, I think almost certainly would have allowed a bingo back. I don't see it right now, but there's probably one. This gives nothing. So Chloe with the bingo prone rack has no available bingos. And frankly, no good plays. Somehow co-joined was blocked through the J, which is nuts.
Yeah, she was probably thinking there's no way that gets disrupted, but I guess it would get disrupted if Max did what she thought he was going to do, which is bingo ending in S, making eights. That would also block co-joined. But that still hasn't happened, and Chloe must be wondering what's going on over there.
All right, so chat points out uncage would have given back rodeoing. I'm sure there was something with that G, so they figured it out. A cadet gives back nothing, and this game's going to get very interesting very quickly. So Chloe's got to figure out something to do. I don't know if JO for 9 is an option. Do you play waged and DO? Do you play quayside or keyside, hold for 21 for style points? Do you play video right here? Oh, Vidcon? Is that like, I think that's, I've seen this before. I would let this go over the board, I think. But that is not a word. And she is on hold.
This is a weird situation for Max. He can proceed with perfect knowledge of Chloe's rack if he takes this one off the board. He'll know she has the blank and he can play accordingly. And I think when Chloe drew tiles, I saw her lips move, and I think she said courtesy. So I think she's just taking courtesy tiles here, and Max is going to continue thinking about this.
I presume this is a C. I think this is Vidcon.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that it could be, like an M, an S. None of these make sense. It's a C, we believe, but it's getting challenged, and we know whatever the blank is, it's going to come off the board. I see some comments in chat that possibly thinking of Vidcon, Vidicon, and video cam, combining the two words, suggestion from Mac Miller.
So Vidcon is going to come back off the board once they return from the challenge computer. Chloe's going to reveal all 7 of those tiles face up. Max gets to look at them, see what they were, and then put them all back in the bag. So not that really helps him, but Chloe maybe is a little confused that she found an S in this bag. though they're still 2 out. She still probably got Max pegged on an S, and he still doesn't have it. So that's really fun.
We're also seeing in chat that Chloe had drawn exiguous from the E of G, but had to throw it back into the bag.
Exiguous. Are you kidding me? Oh, wow. Wow. What a swing. Great challenge from Max.
Yeah, and the only downside is now he has perfect knowledge of Chloe's letters, and that makes any decision he makes 10 times more difficult. Usually in Scrabble, we don't have the luxury of knowing what our opponents have. It's both a luxury and a curse.
These positions make your head spin. Okay, does she have a different playable bingo? Because I need to block it if she does. But then she didn't see it, so maybe I don't need to block it. If she doesn't have a playable bingo, then I need to figure out what her best option is aside from that and probably try to obstruct that, or at least build something that she can't really punish me on. You've also got to be scared you're losing by a good margin and Chloe has a blank. What do you do? He's going to play gin. Sometimes it's better to just make a play quickly, I think, than go through all those options. Maybe. And Chloe's going to have a big decision to make.
She played that one relatively quickly. That's a lot of vowels to keep, but she might be looking at the 6 R's remaining in the bag, the 4 L's, 3 T's, 3 N's, and think it still has a decent shot of working out for her.
So after the back-to-back plays, Chloe's up 223 to 178, and there is one of those 6 R's. She found it, so she has a great rack this turn, and she'll be bingoing, I think, almost no matter what. Or Pines plays with 8s. She knows that. Is there a bingo? Pecorino plays to the O, right? So she'll be bingoing either way. She's got it.
Pecorino is a tough word to spot. I think I have good word knowledge, but that one seems to elude me. It doesn't come quickly to me when I'm reviewing words. I'd be very pleased to see that one come down for Chloe.
Yeah. I mean, there's at least Orpines and 8s, and maybe she's got something beneath, like making uni as well. This is so hard for Max. She has EINO blank. So you don't want to open the board, but you're losing, so you do need to open the board, but then she's just going to win. So what do you do? He can play Xenia here for 45 and FA. He can also play Xenia for 42, making Jinx. I think you're probably playing Xenia in one of these 2 spots, unless there's a really clever X setup that I haven't seen yet. But which spot do you play it in, and why? These are really hard decisions.
Yeah, that is a tough decision. Xenia underneath Finn. It sort of violates the cardinal rule of Scrabble that you don't open triples, but it's an X that's not likely to be tripled through. And since Chloe is basically bingoing imminently, she's not going to make a 5 or 4 or 5 top play through the X. Although maybe she would. In her case, she would have Poxy or retaining N blank, which would be worth consideration, especially if she doesn't see Pecorino. Jinx Jinx and Xenia does it a little bit more defensively, but it blocks the 8s spot, which maybe Max doesn't care about now that he doesn't have an S. We see him play Axing, which is neither of those options.
It is an interesting one. It sets up a big scoring spot when you know that Chloe does not have scoring tiles. So maybe that's going to be left alone for you, but what tiles unseen still even play there? You're going to need a K or an H, I think, to yield a big play there. But a decent idea, though I think maybe Xenia was a better play that just wasn't spotted.
Yeah, Xenia does score a bit more, and you can't discount the points. All the other considerations aside, you still need to score points.
Scoring points is good. That's correct. And axing blocked or pines. So the spot that Chloe thought Max set up forever ago for himself got taken away from her, and she's going to have to find Pecorino. That is her only playable bingo this turn now. All right, Chloe, time to flex it.
Yeah, that is crazy that only one bingo plays with these letters on this board. I mean, there's not tons of bingo spots. There's no spots for 7s that don't have an S. But there's the N to work with, the G to work with. Oh, she's finding it. Nice
As
play
soon
by
as she
Chloe.
put them in alphagram order, she spotted it. Nice job, Chloe. Vindication. 80 points for Pecorino. And this one's not under hold.
The saving grace for Max here is he did draw the P that goes above axing. He can play something like Peak for a very good score and stay in this game despite all his plans for bingos just completely evaporating. He's at this point nowhere close to bingoing, but is still, after something like Peak, is still somehow in this game.
What just happened with Chloe, she set up Imponer, and the top players study racks by alphagram. They see EIMNOPR. They flashcard these things, and they're supposed to know how many bingos are in their rack and what they are. So she saw Imponer, looked at it for a minute, likely remembered, no, it's Promine in this rack, not Imponer, took it back, looked just a little bit longer, and spotted Pecorino and dropped it instantly. So for those of you at home who are looking to get very good, you've got to study racks by alphagram like that. You've got to know not just what are the words, but how many are in these high probability racks. You have to be able to make these decisions on a split second. Now, if you don't want to be a top expert, that's fine too. You don't have to do these things. But if you want to be 1950, that's what it takes.
And another plug out here for airlift.org, the blank bingo quizzes. If you're one of those players, there are many of you out there, including myself, who struggle when you draw a blank. You can just improve slightly every day doing the blank bingo quizzes on Airlift. And over time, your fear of the blank and the possibilities that it provides will lessen.
So Udo from Chloe puts her ahead 328 to 263. Max could still be in this game if he bingos. Now, if you know me as a commentator, you know when we get to mid-late game like this, I look at the number of vowels and consonants remaining. Why don't we take a look at the pool one more time and figure out what's wrong with it?
Oh, yeah, I don't know, Matt. Tell us what's wrong with it.
There's only 6 vowels left.
Whoa.
So that's going to be interesting. Now, Chloe's only got 1, so there's actually plenty of vowels in the bag for Max to draw. But this will be something to keep an eye on. Vowels are going to be at a premium for the rest of this one. Don't want to be caught with a rack of 7 consonants if you're Chloe and you're leading in this game. So something to be cognizant of for sure. Max needs to try to open this board. That line from the P is there and available, but he needs to try to create a second one. And I'm just not seeing really good options for him to do that. Maybe a play like LYE and FE for just 17. Because there are so few vowels left, I think it's actually very hard for my opponent to come back and double underlap that play. So I'm more than likely going to have 2 available lines next turn. EFOR is not the best leave, and it doesn't seem to synergize very well with this unseen pool, which has 4 more R's and a bunch of clunky consonants, but you're going to need some luck to get back into this game, so you just kind of have to pray that you draw something good.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for Max just because he desperately needs a bingo and there's not many places to do it. Plus, his letters aren't that close to 1, barring some random bingo that he kind of draws out of nowhere. This is where something like Uncaged earlier when he played Cadet just completely changes the dynamic of this board. Instead of Pecorino being the really only spot for 8s, Uncaged has a bunch of letters you can play 8s through. So That just goes to show like a defensive play like Cadet has ramifications much later along in the game.
Absolutely. The board is something you are constantly shaping in this game. And the shape you want it to take may change across the course of a game. If you're down, you want it to be open. If you're up, you want it to be closed in general. And hey, maybe you were losing and now you're winning. But it's something you're always building. Every turn you make has consequences for the rest of the game. So, very interesting, the decisions that have been made and the shape we end up with now. Oh, no. Why would you block the P?
Yeah, that is a little bit confusing. It is nice to put the FE there for easy bingos, but the P bingos were not an impossibility. That was still very much an option. So I would have liked to see a play that left those open. Something like just FOE, keeping LY for like bingos ending in LY. That seems like a better version of this play.
Yeah, that's going to dramatically decrease, I think, Max's chances of crawling back in. Now, if Chloe has a scoring option, she can still outrun bingos because the high scoring bingos from the P are not available. Chloe, I think, realizes the lack of vowels in the pool and just plays consonants this turn. LERH for 9, or LEHR for 9. And Max has drawn very well. He's actually pulled a bingo that plays for 88. So maybe he was just praying the whole time, I'm going to draw an S, and I'm going to draw a bingo that starts with an S, because there are 3 lines where that bingo will go down. But incredible that he managed to draw an S and draw Saltery and play it for 88 all at once. I thought that was crazy when he blocked the P, but it's not going to hurt him here. Saltery and Udo's is 88.
It's interesting that if the P was still open, he'd have psaltery, which I believe is like a medieval musical instrument.
Yeah, so the P, I mean, this is exactly why you don't want to block the P. No, what are you doing? Okay, we can play it there too, I guess. But Udo's is 88, 76.
He might be thinking of the fact that Upo doesn't take an S, UPO, and he might think Udo also doesn't take an S, or he might be just unsure of it enough to play the sure thing.
If this were 100% winning bingo, then yeah, don't take that chance. But this play puts Max ahead by 21. This is crazy. All right, so Saltery comes down in a spot we weren't expecting. 8s is there. Some in the chat were thinking Chloe might not be sure of 8s. Well, she doesn't even hold it here. She lets it go. I don't think that was ever the question. I think she just missed edema. And Max bingos, drawing into a bag that has a lot of consonants in it, still finds 3 vowels. And I think this is Max's game to lose now. Chloe's going to have an uphill fight. She can play vert, but that's going to give up the U back hook that Max is sitting on. It's not a winning path for her.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice play as long as Max doesn't have a U, because Chloe has the last S. She can do verts and not have to worry about it being blocked, unfortunately. Or at least Max has to sacrifice something to block it. But with the U on Max's rack, it's straightforward for him to neutralize that spot.
Yeah, now Max just gets to play Begum or Erbium and win this game. I see the idea from Chloe. She's shooting in the dark here. She has to hope she draws the right stuff, and she's not going to find it. But Quackle suggested ART for 3 from the A in Saltery. There's just like nothing that can be done to address that, but it'd be addressed enough, I think. And it just scores so little that I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think art is a little bit too crazy, but it's possible it could work out if you draw exactly what you need to play a bingo. I think art and then not bingoing might not be enough.
So with just 2 tiles in the bag and a terrible unseen pool, IILNNRSTW, if I'm Max, like Begum just wins this game. I can't see any out bingo.
he can probably figure out that Chloe does not have any available bingos, and with that knowledge in hand, it's pretty straightforward for him to win the game. I mean, with that
There are
pool with
actually
only
there are two possible bingos Chloe can have. This is actually pretty interesting. One of them is Nitrills, which plays either with Udon or with Verts. Begum blocks both of those. The other one is not blocked by Begum at all. It's disgusting. So there is a worst case scenario for Max if Chloe has exactly one rack where he'll still lose this game.
It's Winterly, isn't it? From
It
the
is
Y of Saltery.
it is Wintrily to the Y in Saltery making FEW. So there's no way to address both of these threats that I see. So I think you just have to play Begum.
I think Max can safely infer that Chloe had the S when she played Vert, thus eliminating Winterly from consideration, although maybe there's a world where Vert was just played optimistically, hoping to draw an S or a U.
Yeah, I think with some inference, I mean, Vert could have been a Hail Mary, I'm going to draw the S and the U, and Max will have neither one. But the fact that it came down within like 20 seconds, okay, she had the S. Wintrily is not in the cards. Begum's going to win the game for me. And that's what he does. There are a lot of turns in this game that I think both players will go back and think about. This game was hard. There were a lot of complicated positions, a lot of rushed plays, I would say, as well. But at the end of the day, an amazing pull from Max. Saltery into ERY. He picks up SALT. He needs a bingo that begins in an S, and he finds one. That is what it took for him to win this game. Bad break for Chloe, but she did have her chances. She lost a turn on Vidcon. You always look back and think, what could I have done differently? Well, that is something she could have done differently.
Yeah, and she also missed Edemas, which she'd probably want that turn back. So it wasn't the absolute cleanest game from both sides. I think there were small to medium-sized mistakes coming from both players. But in the end, both of them made some very good plays as well, and some interesting positions.
This was a fun one to watch. That's what I asked for. And that's what I got. Definitely interesting as well, instructional and educational, showing a lot of the nuance of like tighter boards where there are not a lot of options, how to navigate bad racks. I think there's a lot that can be learned from people at home from this game. A good one to watch. And we will have one more game for y'all to watch after this one, the fourth and final game of the session. This one is going to feature another former North American champion. We are going to give you Michael Fagan and Chris Sykes after this. So one more game, and while we wait for Chloe to figure out her endgame sequence, I will invite all of you new to the channel to click that subscribe button. I'm not affiliated with this channel. I just do some commentary sometimes, but Josh does a great job putting out a bunch of YouTube content. He's adding more and more every day. If you like watching Scrabble, hit that subscribe button. You'll get all kinds of videos. If you have someone else who kind of likes playing Scrabble or Words with Friends, send them a link to the channel. They can check out some of the videos. And if you're intimidated by this extremely high level of play, we got to point out that Chloe and Max are easily two of the top 40 players in North America, probably top 20 players in North America. This is not normal. Scrabble tournaments have divisions, and you will play people a little closer to your speed, at least at first, and kind of work your way up as much as you feel like working up. But there's a place in competitive Scrabble for everybody. There's fun to be had for everybody. And I cannot encourage you enough. Jump into the scene. Subscribe to this video, share it around, click that like button. The more likes we get, the higher up in the algorithm the rest of this tournament's going to be. So yeah, once again, up on the soapbox. This is what I do anytime there's an endgame that's boring.
Yeah, got to fill the dead strategic space with something. Might as well give shout outs to everybody who deserves it, and that definitely includes Josh Greenway and team, both putting on this tournament and running Let's Play Scrabble. Again, like, subscribe, donate money, donate time and energy, or just show up to the tournaments. All of those things will help us grow the game.
Absolutely. It takes a village, and we have an awesome village here. Josh does some incredible work for the game. Josh and Kieran putting on this event run awesome tournaments. You should check those out. Chloe plays the cute Ewis, W-Y-I-S. Max plays Nil, so Max not thinking through this endgame at all, just trying to get out of here, and Chloe's going to take her time and milk every spread point she can out of a game that got out of hand for her. She's not going to be able to go out. Bummer.
Yep, so we're crawling to the end of this one. It's going to be Max's win, and he's going to tighten his first place position.
Yeah, so Max now 9-1, first place, inducing some mistakes, making a tight board, and then a huge draw at the end. He was probably less than 20% to win this game until he picked up SALT out of the bag and hit Saltery. That was a good one to watch. When it's all said and done, the final on this one is 422 for Max, 396 for Chloe.